Recording. Alright, today is a little bit of a late night episode. It's 11:38. We're literally recording this right before the time of midnight hits, so it will be an actual Tuesday that we record this on. We gotta catch up. So last week we missed an episode, but you know, a lot was going on, and we're gonna talk about all that stuff in this video or in this podcast this week. So I have a video going up in the next few minutes here, and that will be what's going on and why we missed the podcast last week, but we'll go into more depth about that now. So, basically, we have a new segment on the show because my life is really a mess all the time. So it's going to be called the, I like to call it the SLS, so Sire's Life Sucks, because sometimes my life does suck. Or we're going to call it the Broken and Broke. Or Broken. Like segment. Because, you know, after a little bit, I do end up spending a lot of money on some stupid things that in turn either leave me broken or broke. There's no win. So,
a combination of both.
It's always a little bit of both. Now, without further ado, let's go back into our normal introductions. We have Alpha Gunner 0321, and we have me, Sire, with our normal podcast setup. My room's a little bit of a mess. I didn't get to clean it up a little today, but my hair also just got redone, so in the video it looks a little bit more of a mess, and now it's like back to how I normally keep it. But things to talk about. Okay, so let's catch up on the story of what happened to my car, Betsy the Beamer.
Betsy's dead.
Betsy's dead. Betsy died on us. Okay. R.I.P. Betsy. Moment of silence. Alright, moment's been done. Fuck that motherfucker. She's an asshole. Alright, so basically, Betsy was a 2008 BMW 328xi that I bought like last year. A few months ago. Hang on, let me move this bag out of the way so I can actually move in closer to the. Oh my God, yeah. But no, she was a 2008 BMW 328xi that I bought like last year. I think it was like July, maybe June, beginning of summerish. But I was trying to get out of my first car, which was a Mitsubishi Eclipse. It was black, really nice car. I got that one, called it a day, and then I sold it not too late afterward. But I bought Betsy. She had 142,000 miles when I bought her. Got it for $5,000. I think I put about 2,000 to 3,000 back into it, maybe even more. But
you're at least 4 or 5 by the time you sold that thing.
No, I think it was like 3.5, maybe 4. Let's say 4. Let's say 4 round up. Put money.
What's wrong with that car? That car sucked.
Yeah, let's just say rounded up to $4,000 worth of work into that car. So it was about a $9,000 car when I left it. I put it for 5. I went in there, buffed it up. Let's talk about flipping it. It was a property flip. No, it wasn't. It was a property shit. That motherfucking thing sucked ass. God damn.
Listen, so much money.
Mm-hmm. Oh, they said own a Beamer. They were like, own a Beamer. It'll be nice. Whatever. No, that wasn't nice. It was stupid.
No, everyone told you not to get that Beamer, Anthony.
Everyone did tell me not to get it, but I still did it though. But
everyone told you it's gonna break. It's not gonna work. Don't do it.
Well, okay. Now that goes into the story that we're about to go into for the first episode of the Sire's Life Sucks segment, so SLS. Basically, I think it was, let's say, 2 weeks ago. So February 27th, I want to say, is when I started. But my car broke down in a Sheetz parking lot. Okay. Now, this is the first time Tanner's hearing this. This is the first time Tanner's hearing the whole story, so I'm going to keep on going. It's going to kind of bring us into where we're at now. So, February 27th, I think, or maybe a little bit before then, maybe like 26th or something. But last month, like the end of last month, basically, my car breaks down on a nice ass day. I swear to God, it was the nicest day we've had in PA in a minute. It was bright. Everyone was out washing their cars, and you know what? I was like, you know what?
40 degrees.
It was not. It was like actually like a 50, 55-ish day. It was kind of cold. It was warmer than normal, and I was like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna go wash my car because I'm in the mood. Okay, I didn't have work until 3. It was on I think it all happened on like a Wednesday or something. But I go and my car gets. I go to drive it, right? I'm driving, blasting music, I'm chilling, and Betsy had a subwoofer in the back, a 1,800 watt amp, and all this other stuff is all in there. So that thing was killing it in that music sound system after I was done. But it also was killing it, the battery. That's what was killing the battery the entire time. So I go and I'm driving, I go to Sheetz, and I park in a spot to get gas because my car was low on gas. 1 and 2, I drove past a car wash. I drove past the car wash, and that car wash didn't actually have like any spots available for me to go in to like wash my car. So I was like, all right, well.
Are we in
Irwin?
Oh, you're in Irwin. Okay.
Okay, I'm in Irwin. So I passed the dealership, past that car wash, that washboard or whatever, and then I go into the Sheetz right there. The small one too. It's not even the big one, which was probably my first mistake. So I go to the small Sheetz. I park, get some gas, whatever. I don't know what was going on, but it was like kind of being weird getting gas and whatever. I was like, all right, so call it a day. I put the thing back in the hole. I get back in my car. I go to start it. Nothing. I'm like, oh my goodness. I'm like, okay, the battery's
Did the
loose.
battery die or something?
Yeah, that's what I thought. I was like, okay, whatever. So I go back into the battery, and normally what happens is the sub will be vibrating so much back there that it moves like the terminal that was on top of the battery around. But this was right after the battery like burned itself. There was an electrical fire in my trunk that I found out about on when I went into Mount Washington, and I saw it like after the aftermath. So I had a 12-volt wire running from the front of my car, so at the radio, all the way back and through the entire car, and it went down into the trunk, and it was just sat on. At first, when I first did it, I just threw it on top of the battery terminal and called it a day. I didn't even bolt it on. I just threw it on there, taped it in, called it, and I was like, all right, whatever. But then I took off the bolts and I put the actual like wire under the bolt and went down and clamped it. I didn't have like an actual like metal bit that goes around the ending to put on the what's it called, there was like a little metal rod with threads on it, so like the screw bit. I didn't have it like a thing to go over it, so I was like, all right, whatever, just cut the wire, wrap it around to make it look like the thing that goes around the screw bit, and put it on there. Put it all down.
So you
whatever.
Just makeshift shit and it broke.
Yes, I did some makeshift shit and it started a whole ass fire in my trunk. And then I didn't see the fire, but I just noticed when I went back there because my car died on top of Mount Washington. Like the wire was burned, the battery terminal was burned, and fused together. Like literally, the positive ending terminal was fused to the center thing that I had in there. Were just fused together. And the bolt that was there was melted to the screw, so I couldn't even get it off to like fix it and like replace it. So I literally had to break the entire thing in order to get it out.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah, your makeshift wires caught on fire.
So I was like, all right, this is dumb as hell. So my battery goes. Okay, I'm in the parking lot. I'm like trying to shake it or whatever to make it so the car starts again. And I'm like, okay, whatever. I get the car to start going, and I'm like, oh, well, what's going on? The battery's not getting enough juice. Okay. So I found this dude. I didn't ask his name or whatever. He comes out. The front of his car destroyed. I didn't notice it until I walked over to him. But I walk over to him like, hey, my car needs a jump. It's a black dude. Listen, my thought process was, It's February. It's Black History Month. My brother got me. Okay, my brother man got me. Right. I walk over and I ask him like, "Yo, can you like jump my car?" And he was like, "Yeah." I was like, he was like, My car's all jacked up, and he points to the front of it. Front of the car, just wrecked. He's like, "Well, I gotta go to my mom's house, grab her car, and bring it back. She lives 5 minutes down the road, right?" And he's like, very persistent.
Never came back, did he?
No, I'm gonna get to that part. But he kept on consistently saying that she lived 5 minutes down the road. And I'm like, all right, whatever. So he calls her, literally called his mother. I hear her on the phone with him. And he's like, "Oh, can I come down to your house, like, grab your car to jump this guy's car for him?" And she was like, "Yeah, whatever." He was like, "All right, I'll be right back," right? He gets in his car, he drives off. Listen, this guy was I was gonna pay him money for like gas to go to his mom's house, come back. And I had cash on me. I was gonna hand him cash, like fill up his tank or whatever. And I was gonna see how much he paid for his gas tank, fill it up, like pay for the fill up and whatnot, because he went out of his way to help. The motherfucker never came back. I was sitting there for a good 35, 40 minutes, still waiting until I had to go to work. And no one was, there was nothing I can do. And I was like, dude, this guy's not coming back at this point. I'm texting the girl I'm talking to. I'm texting all my friends and all this other stuff. And I'm just like, I'm fucking pissed. I'm like, where the hell is this guy at, right? I'm like, I thought it was Black History Month. I thought my man got me, but he didn't have me. He didn't have me back,
Oh, you need to dive back in your Black History, Anthony.
Exactly. So
you need to reopen that book, read a little bit more.
Oh man, I thought being black gave me some privileges or something, but no.
It wasn't holding hands in sunshine, Anthony.
Listen, I didn't get
rainbows at the end of that.
But no, basically, I go and I bumped into a guy that I know that I went to school. He was a senior last year before we became seniors, so he graduated, and I talked to him like roughly like a couple times here and there, and he knew me just from like a few classes that we had together and whatnot. Like we had gym together and whatever, so I knew him like decently. Like I knew him better than a stranger. So I go over. I always ask people when I talk to people, I go, "Can you do me a favor?" Because they didn't feel that they're helping more, and they'll actually say yes, more likely. This little psychology trick that I learned somewhere, I can't remember, but probably on TikTok or something. But I asked him, "Can you do me a favor?" He goes, "Yeah, I got you." Because like he knows me, whatever. I go, "Can you drop my car?"
Just being a nice person, Anthony.
Yeah. So he comes over, and he pulls his car in front. We pop his hood. We had to figure out how to pop his hood or whatever because he's never popped his hood. How are you a dude?
I don't know how to pop my. I didn't know how to pop my hood before like a month ago.
What the? Y'all don't know how to pop your hoods, dog? That's the first thing I do when I get my car. I learn how to do everything.
I wasn't a car guy. I'm still not a car guy.
Yeah, I guess you're right. I guess you don't need to know that knowledge.
I play sports. I don't do cars. I'm a nerd. I have 2 TVs and 3 consoles in my room, in reaching distance.
Hey, listen. In front of me, I have 3 consoles. I have an Xbox, PlayStation, and a PC here.
But do you have an Xbox 360, an Xbox One, and an Xbox Series X? I stick with a pattern.
Yeah, I guess you're right. I do have an Xbox 360 somewhere in the house, and I have the original Xbox, but I don't have the new Series X. So I guess you win.
The original Xbox?
Yeah, I have the original Xbox.
I'll pay you $50. I'll pay you $50 for it. I'll take a fifth pattern. Never play it, but I just need it.
Dog, I literally had. I think if I get it on there, I can probably find it. It has like the big green Xbox logo in the middle, and it's just this big box. Yeah, I have it somewhere in the basement.
I'll never even. I won't even plug it in. To be honest, just to have it. Like, I have all 4.
That'd be funny. Yeah, I'll see if I can find it. See what I can do for you.
I was a joke.
No, we're gonna find it now. We're gonna find it now.
No, I don't want it. No.
But no.
All right.
Continuing the story. So, guy jumps my car, and we're in the parking lot. I get the jumper cables on. I start letting it charge a little bit. I jump the car. Car starts. I'm like, yes, here we go. Right? Now the lights in my car are dim. So I'm like, okay, the battery terminal's just jiggled wrong, and it needs to like actually sit flushly and whatever. So I jiggle it around. Lights brighten up a little bit, and I start the car again. And I'm like, all right, let's go. So we're ready to go. Car started. It's all I needed was a jump. Now I can go and go back to my house.
I'd point out if the battery doesn't turn on, there's still something wrong with it.
Now, that's what I'm saying. Like, it was, I don't know what was going on.
That's a temporary fix.
Mm-hmm.
That's not the whole thing.
No, it wasn't the whole thing at all. So I'm like, okay, whatever. And then I go and I start to go forward, right? And I'm like, all right, yeah, it's normal, whatever. Just turning a little bit to keep my car straight. Then I go to turn left. And when I tell you, it took the force of 10 suns to turn that wheel to the left. I was like, hold up. So I put my car in park. I started thinking, I'm like, what is happening? I noticed that the 4x4, like, stability control light was on. I'm like, okay, maybe the battery's, like, not giving enough juice to give the computer that power to start that part of the car. So I'm like, all right, whatever. So I just go, you know what, YOLO, I got time for this. Maybe the alternator will charge it or something. I don't know. Something's going to happen here. So I start going. I'm using the force of 18, 20 suns just turning my car, right? And I get out into the main road, the highway. I'm talking 30. And I'm talking to traffic coming. I can't turn. To merge onto traffic, it took me 10 seconds. And I'm like, spinning it with everything I got. I'm talking upside down turning. And I'm like, all right, whatever. So I start shooting my way down the street. Now, mind you, I'm an idiot. Okay, don't listen to me, kids, if you guys are watching this. This is not how you're supposed to be as a driver. You should not drive with no power steering if you don't, like, when you're going on a main road. Back roads, all right, whatever, no power steering.
Don't do it back. Just turn your car off and get towed.
Exactly. Don't
try to move it out. No, turn that bitch off, get it towed, bring it to a shop and get it fixed. Not, I'm taking to my grandma's house and get it fixed and fix it myself.
Okay, now I had the idea of driving it with all that going on. So I drive it on the road and I'm recording video, so I know like if I die, there's gonna be documented evidence. So I'm trying to turn with one hand. So I'm dropping my phone to turn the wheel. So I'm like, all right, whatever, picking it back up on the video, and it was the funniest stuff. I think I have them probably saved somewhere, and I'll probably post them on my YouTube story, so you'll probably see them if I do have them. But I turn it. It was the hardest thing ever, right? So then I get to AutoZone. It was Advanced Auto Parts I went to. I go to Advanced Auto Parts, and they were like, I was like, oh, I need a new battery. They're like, yeah, I got you, whatever car you have. I'm like, all right, this is the car I got. And they're like, okay, yeah. So, one, he upsold me from the normal style battery to like a below like premium one. So like the premium one had like some Aster gel or something in it or some cool stuff. I don't know. It did some cool stuff. Instead of battery acid, it was like gel. I don't know. But then he was like, yeah, it was, $200 something. And then the one under it was also in the 200 range. But it was just platinum rated, and then it was higher wattage, and then it was like better because he was like, okay, this is why this is funny, is because at the Advanced Auto Parts store in PA, there's a guy with a heavy, I'm talking heavy, Australian accent. Or I don't even know if it was British. It was something. He sounded like. Okay. I don't know what happened, but the recording just kind of stopped. Okay, so we left off at the battery. I am now super far ahead when I was just talking for the last 30 minutes. Basically, what happened was I go to my grandma's house after the battery because it didn't work and it didn't fix it because I got a new battery, didn't fix anything in it. I then went and put a new power steering pump. It took me like a whole day to do. I tried to work on the engine, didn't work. Cause instead of falling asleep at 12 o'clock at night when I was working on the engine, and then now I am at the, I go to the chiropractor on a Saturday, and I try to drive my car there. The car sounds like a dirt bike on the way there. It was the worst sound ever. You shouldn't hear that when you're coming from a car. I drive all the way up to Greensburg from Monroeville, so 30 minutes. Tanner had driven me up there before. So, it was like the day before that when I got the power steering pump. Tanner helped out with that. And that was like a 30-minute drive there, 30-minute drive back. But I get there, and I forgot to lead the power steering. So I was like, oh, okay, maybe that's what the noise is coming from. So I go, and I let the air out of the power steering, and then I close it back up or whatever, and then I go and I go into the chiropractor, and I talk to them for a second. Realize it was going to be a little second, so I'll go back out, look in the engine bay. There is serpentine belt just kind of shredded all over the engine, so it's like fuck. So I'm like, all right, shit. So I go and I go back inside, go to the chiropractor appointment, and then I go back out to my car. I start driving my car back to my grandma's house. As I'm driving back to my grandma's house, I literally lose power steering because the belt fell off. The belt is completely gone at this point. The alternator turned off, everything like that. I drove back from like near my house, kind of, all the way to Monroeville. So it was another 12 minutes back to my house. So I'm just living off of whatever the battery can put out and whatnot. I drive my ass back to my house. No music, I'm just kind of chilling, cruising. And I make it back to my grandma's house. She got a serpentine belt because I texted her to grab one. So I start taking everything off. The engine is hot. I'm taking stuff off, putting the new belt on, called it a day. And I'm like, oh my goodness, we're done. So I fixed the serpentine belt issue. Then I'm like, you know what? Car's sitting here. I'll let it cool down for the night, whatever. I'll come back tomorrow. Sunday comes. Sunday, I started working on the engine. When I say that was a nightmare, that was a nightmare. I started taking the engine apart. And I got down to taking everything apart. And I broke the valve cover gasket, like the valve cover itself, which is a $400 part. I literally left a bolt in it, and I pulled it, and it shattered the entire thing. And I was so pissed. I also broke a tube.
This car sounds like a disaster.
Mm-hmm.
I would just kill it.
Yeah, I did kill it. It's gone now. But I sold it.
It's not worth it.
I broke a secondary air intake tube, trying to take out the valve cover, so I had to order one of those from SCP Euro overnight. So it was like $17 for extra shipping for a $2 part or whatever, and that was a pain in the ass. And then I fashioned one out of like a fuel line, like a rubber hose that I just found at AutoZone, and put it on there and called it a day. And we're gonna tighten it down with some worm clamps, call it a damn completed project. But then I got the engine back to work, got it back on, and then I go to fill the car with coolant. Right, there is a giant coolant leak. This wire, plastic bit that goes between two rubber parts on the hose for the coolant, literally shatters when I'm putting the air intake back in. And I'm like, what the fuck? So there's coolant just all over the floor, all over the bottom of the engine, all over the pulleys and belts and all that stuff. And I'm like, oh my god, what the fuck is going on? Why is everything breaking? There was a coolant leak coming from the Mickey Mouse flange that goes straight into the engine. There was one that was coming from above it. There was coolant leaks everywhere. I'm like, oh shit. So I ordered a whole new part, and it took me like another couple of days for that to come in the mail. So Amazon Prime that, I think. So I get it, Wednesday. Wednesday comes. I go and fix it. I fix the coolant, fix all that shit. I start my car up. And the car sounds horrible. Completely rough. Now, what happened was when I went to get that battery, I got the battery. And the battery wasn't putting out enough volts. And my alternator had died completely, I think. So it was causing it to misfire. I called that out in the video that I'm about to post, but it is nuts how bad it sounded. So then I go and I send it through. I drive it, and then my car dies on the way to work. I'm stuck in the middle of a road all day. Then I got my car jumped, and I parked it in a parking lot, waited for a tow truck to come. Tow truck never showed up. I'm having a mental breakdown. Then I'm like, all right.
Tow truck never came.
Never came. So I drove the car to Firestone, which is a mechanic shop in Monroeville, and I think they have a few other locations, but I drive it over there. My car wouldn't shift because it didn't have any electricity to the computer, so I had it in sports mode, so I'm shifting it manually, and I drive it all the way up to Firestone. I park it, call it a day, and I'm like, here's the keys. I just need to inspect it, try to give them a rundown of what I thought the issue was, and they gave me a report back, and it was literally the same thing that I said it was going to be. and I was right from the get-go that the battery needed change. So I guess the battery that I put in was only putting out, it was rated for 750 watts. It was putting out 250.
The battery was not the whole problem with that car.
No, yeah, the battery was the cause of the new issue, which was the engine. I fixed everything that was the reason that was breaking it already, but then the battery became the new issue. From the beginning, that was the issue that I fixed, but then at the end, that was the issue that I had to fix again. So I was really irritated with that. So I just took the car on a Thursday. I go back on Thursday, and I'm like, this is stupid. So I go to a dealership, Kenny Ross dealership in Irwin, and I found a Subaru 3.6R. That was the car that I wanted before I got the Beamer, and I found that at the Kenny Ross dealership. I started talking to the guys there, and whatever. We started working out, whatever, and then I go and start talking about that. Drop the car off at the dealership, which was a nightmare in itself. And boom, now we're here. Now I have no Betsy. I have a new car, which is going to be in the new video. I kind of just gave it away though by saying with the car I was looking at. But if you guys watch the podcast, you watch this type of stuff, you made it this far in the podcast, then I think that you deserve to know what the new video is going to be. Sneak peek. But yeah, that was it.
I think we should wrap it up, Anthony.
Yeah, we definitely should, because I'm getting tired, you're getting tired, and I need to go post all this shit. So yeah, that was a quick story time, a little bit of a mess because it messed up the recording in the middle, and I had to restart. But that was that. That was the Sire Life Sucks, the SLS news segment on our show. And anything else, Sam, you want to mention before we go? Okay, here's what I'm going to say. Never buy a used BMW without a warranty. That is going to be my leaving.
Never buy a BMW.
No.
BMWs are only good for invading Poland. That's it.
Jesus, are you talking about the fucking tanks?
Yeah.
Nice. But no, I mean, it's a great car, but it's just, you got to get one while it's under warranty. If it's not under warranty, it's not worth it.
And expect to spend 10 grand.
Yeah. So spending about 9-10 grand on trying to fix the car. I just got rid of it, called it a damn day. But yeah, that was it for today's podcast. I mean, even though it was shorter than normal, it's still whatever. I mean, might as well call this one a good one and call it a damn day. So next week's will be normal length. We'll have a guest on. I'm pretty sure we're gonna either have Tyler or my friend Ryan, or coworker Ryan. He has a YouTube channel, and Tyler's also been in one of our YouTube videos. So we'll probably bring him on next week for a video for the podcast. So next week will be longer, back to normal size. This one was just to try to get something out so we didn't miss this week's upload. So, all right.
Sounds good.
Yep. Okay, and it's been Sire and Alpha Gunner, or Anthony and Tanner, with the Boring Tuesday podcast. So you guys enjoy the rest of your day, night, evening, whatever time you're watching this, and I hope you guys enjoyed. And the new video is coming out, so you'll see kind of like what I was talking about, kind of explain it more in those videos, kind of give like a quick little rundown, little how-to tutorial of what I was doing. But yeah, that's it for tonight. So let's get out of here.
Okay.
All right. That's it.
I gotta go, Anthony.
I'll see you. Bye.
Alright, see you.